What do we have at the foundation? Eight of Cups, Pisces energy at the foundation, and Temperance, Sag energy at the sacral. Now, one of the messages that I got for this reading was that everybody needs to start preparing for what we don't see coming. Now, as we all know, there's a lot of uncertainty inside the world, and I feel that Spirit, the divine, is really trying to prepare all of the people that are on the enlightened path, people who have been sent here to help awaken the rest of the collective to this slumber that we have all seemingly been under for our entire lives. There's a lot of truth that is beginning to unearth itself in our reality. We're starting to see that things aren't what we thought they were. It's very easy to see where the matrix begins and our reality ends. And it's very difficult to deny this now. The world is becoming a very different place than we thought it once was. But we are all gears. We are all cogs inside the mechanics of this reality. And each and every one of you is playing a very crucial role inside the collective. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you are doing. It doesn't matter if you are rich. It doesn't matter if you are poor. It doesn't matter if you are famous. It doesn't matter if you are unknown. All of these things are completely irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. What matters is that you know that you are here to complete a mission. The old way of doing things is gone. And the most important thing we can do right now is to rely on yourself and prepare for the worst. Now, that's a heavy statement. A lot of people won't like hearing that, but I'm not here to sugarcoat anything to all of you. Something I've really been guided to do over the course of the past year is to prepare as much as possible for what may or may not come. And I've got to tell you, ever since I've done this, I feel a lot less anxious about what may be coming our way. And this is the energy that Spirit wants to get all of you in. We can no longer rely on the system that's been put in place to save us, because it's not going to. In fact, it could be argued that the very system that we employ and that has been put in place to take care of us is actually our enemy. Now, whether or not you agree with that doesn't really matter, because it doesn't change the message here. And that is that you need to do everything you can to protect your mission here. As we all get closer and closer to aligning with our true north, it seems as though the collective is erupting into a kind of chaos. It's as if there's something that knows that all of you are about to step onto your divinely willed path as a means to fulfill your destiny, however that may look for you. Something that I have noticed over the course of the past couple of weeks since the chaos in LA has been erupting are these people who are in and around that area who don't know how to read the room. Now, I know that these sort of monumental disasters have been unfolding for a very long time. The Carolinas, Lahaina. But this one, for me, is just a little bit different because I live in California, so I'm close to Los Angeles. And I can feel the heaviness inside the energy. And what I have seen has left me with a sense of disgust. We're really starting to see people for who they really are now. It's as if there's been a line that's drawn in the sand. These disasters really bring out who people really are. The devil is amongst us, and he is showing up in a whole collective of people who are so incredibly disconnected from humanity. And everything that I have just spoken about is showing up in both of these cards. Eight of Cups, an energy of walking away from everything that you once knew, and resulting in this Temperance energy at the sacral, aligning with your path, your purpose, and your mission. Spirit is calling everybody to their stations, and though this may look different for each and every one of you out there, I feel that there's a lot of loss. Whether you're being directly impacted by some of the disasters that are unfolding in the world right now, or you're being impacted by disasters in your personal life with your families, I feel that you are also starting to see that they are becoming everything they said you were. Everything they said you were guilty of is exactly what they're guilty of. This is no longer something they can hide anymore. It's all out in the open, and it's all connected to what's erupting inside the collective. As each disaster unfolds in different parts of the world, it has a way of connecting us like a web. And what we're starting to find out is that there's a lot more of us than there is of them. This has always been their worst fear, is that we would realize this, is that we would come together. And unfortunately, it's taken these disasters for us to all unite and become one. There's a lot going on with the astrology right now, And I feel that a lot of you are reevaluating your personal goals and desires based on what's happening inside the world, inside the collective. Some of you may be experiencing some delays in your professional life or some sort of fluctuations in your motivation. In other words, things that once sparked your interest are seemingly becoming less and less interesting to you because we're having a much deeper dive into ourselves and what's really important, and that's each other. Feels like the clock is ticking. It feels like we're on a race to save ourselves, to save humanity. And each and every one of you is so much more important than you think. You all play this incremental role in what's unfolding. Just like I said, you're all gears, you're all cogs, you're all part of the mechanics. And the message of preparation is coming through in such an overwhelming manner because feeling anxious about what is unfolding in the world is a byproduct of fear. You are all master manifestors, whether you know it or not. Each one of us has the ability to manifest our reality into our everyday waking life. So when you're anxious, when you're living in fear, that's what you are going to manifest more of in your life. This is why it's important to prepare, overly prepare if you can, so you can start to rid yourself of that fear, of that anxiousness, and manifest a reality for yourself that is based in peace and balance, temperance at the sacral. What do we have? The solar plexus, please. Wheel of Fortune, Sag energy at the solar plexus. Perfect. Now, the Wheel of Fortune speaks about timelines. It speaks about your destiny. And the Wheel of Fortune from this deck is interesting because we're behind it. We're on approach. We're not there yet. We're heading to this new timeline that we are manifesting into the collective, into our waking lives, based on this energy of not living in fear, because we have put action behind these messages and have prepared for what we don't see coming. Now, this has just confirmed everything that I have said to be right on target here. And see how they've got these books, right? Records. Let's say Akashic records. There's some on the top, there's some on the bottom. It's like these are angels, these are demons. And there seems to be this energy where we are in between right now. We can either manifest our reality based on fear, or we can manifest our reality based on peace and love. We are co-creating with the universe right now. And this opposing force that is coming against us inside the collective, I just heard somebody say, what is it? Who is it? Okay, now it's no one singular entity or person. It's an energy. It's a type of consciousness. We have a consciousness of fear that is available to us, or we have a consciousness of knowledge and understanding. Some people like to refer to this as the devil, God, Christ consciousness, Luciferian consciousness, dark, light, yin, yang. There's so many different ways that you can look at this. But inside this third density where we all exist, there must be a balance that is kept at all times between the two. The time we are living in right now, the darkness is trying to consume the light. This is why the most important thing that you can do right now is to focus on what you can control. Do your best, despite all the chaos erupting in the world, to take your mind off of everything that you can't control. See, that's what they want. They want you to live in fear. The enemy isn't obvious. The enemy is functioning in the shadows. The enemy is that which we thought was always protecting us and had our best interest in mind. We are standing before a crossover point like we have never been at any point in our lives before. That's why you need to get into the consciousness of knowledge and understanding. You could also refer to this as a Christ consciousness. Whatever you feel most comfortable referring to it as within the framework of your belief system is perfectly fine. At the end of the day, it's just a different language that is referring to the exact same thing. But this is what you must focus on right now. No matter where you are in your life, it's time for all of you to take a time out, sit with your thoughts, sit with spirit, and ask yourself if you're truly happy on the path that you are currently on. Does it fulfill you on a soul level? And it's perfectly okay if you say no, it doesn't, because just about every one of us out there feels the same way. How can you watch all this destruction and chaos unfolding in the world, this monumental loss, and not reevaluate or rethink how you may be moving. In fact, that's what we want. None of us should be that comfortable with where we're at. There's always room to grow. Even when you are functioning inside your purpose, inside your mission, you should always want more. You should always want to evolve more. The path to enlightenment knows no end. The path to enlightenment is evolution. It is in alignment with the expansion of the universe. You're all being presented with a new opportunity right now. Ace of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy. Everything I'm saying here is right on target, and it's leading to the divine, trying to awaken you to more, to the possibilities, to the opportunities that they're trying to present to you. In the midst of chaos and disaster, you are needed in other spaces. 10 of Pentacles, divine blessing, 10 of Swords, an ending and a beginning. 6 of Cups, some sort of blessing from the universe, from the divine. And I feel that this is also past life related, okay? So it's like you are aligning with a mission that you have been on for several life cycles. It's like you're picking up where you have left off, and a lot of you are just now awakening to this. Or you are starting to understand more details about your mission and your path. What do we have at the heart? Too many cards. What do we have at the heart? 6 of Pentacles, Taurus energy at the heart. Now, the 6 of Pentacles can really speak about some sort of support or assistance that's coming through from the divine right now that you may not even see. I just heard you're going to find this in a very unlikely place. Now, you're being called to all really think outside the box right now. 6 of Pentacles is also an energy of sharing. It's an energy of charity. It's an energy of being of assistance to the collective. So on one hand, the divine is providing you with the tools that you need to be able to position yourself to do this. And on the other hand, you are making yourself available in some capacity to assist other people inside the collective. Now, there's countless different ways this can show up, but it's usually going to be connected to something that you already feel from within. And this is right at the heart chakra. So it's like the divine is aligning you with your true heart's desires. And for a lot of you, actually, I feel for just about all of you, it has to do with making yourself available to help with this global shift. I'm hearing something about a rebuilding. I'm seeing a community of people in my mind's eye right now, farming and just cultivating these kinds of uncharted territories. I feel like this is really speaking about the destruction of the old way of doing things and a more self-reliant, more sustainably sound framework that's being put in place to usher ourselves into the future. Now, what's interesting about that is I feel like we're on a race to do this because the opposing force is also trying to sell this idea that they are doing the same thing, but it's totally different. Okay? It's something that is structured inside this Luciferian agenda. It is not for humanity. In fact, it's for the complete imprisonment and destruction of humanity. And without going into too much detail, I'll leave that one right there with all of you. What do we have at the throat, please? Wow, this just followed what I just said. Hierophant in reverse at the throat. So it's an energy that presents itself as God, right? As for humanity. But it's a lie at the throat. Hierophant in reverse is a godless energy. It's an energy that's essentially rebelling against the divine, but it paints itself in a certain light in order to trick man. More and more, we're beginning to realize that even though they tell us we are free, we are not. Freedom of speech is being suppressed, and our liberties are being stripped from us left and right underneath our nose. This is one of these very moments in our lives where we are being offered the red pill or the blue pill. You can choose the red pill, which means that you are ready to accept the harsh reality and the uncomfortable truths about our lives. Or you can take the blue pill and stay in this blissful state of ignorance, thinking that you are just opting to sit this one out, so to speak. But that's not how it works. You don't get to sit anything out. You must choose whether you are against humanity or for humanity. And you must choose whether you are going to take complete control over your own life or you are going to relinquish it into the hands of this system that is on a mission to crush every bit of life out of humankind. And then right on the bottom of the deck, I have the Tower, Mars, Aries, Scorpio energy, which is obviously the energy that we're feeling inside the collective right now. It's an energy of destruction. The foundation by which we have built our lives on, essentially what we have always known, is crumbling. Nothing is ever going to be the same. See, this is an amazing time to be alive because we are seeing the complete annihilation of the control mechanisms that have been in place for far too long. There's also this energy that's influenced by the astrology right now, where you're all being called to blend your drive with your intuition and creativity. This should be inspiring you to really focus on acts of compassion, again, creativity, and being of service to others. Now, this is perfect because it really speaks about what spirit is trying to align you with in each one of your own individual lives. It's like you're being called to your station to implement everything that you have learned, all the trials, all the tribulations, all the highs, all the lows, putting it all together and molding it, crafting it into something unique that you can use to help uplift humanity, to help support your community, however that may be showing up for you. And again, I feel the need to say this. It does not matter if you are rich or you are poor. It does not matter if you are CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company or you are a server in a restaurant. I just heard truck drivers. Okay, it doesn't matter what you do. We need to strip away all of these things that we think defines who we are and get to the soul of things, okay? That's all that matters. What do we have for the third eye, please? Perfect. Eight of Swords, Gemini energy at the third eye. So this is reinforcing what I just said about stripping away all these things that defines us and getting to the soul of things, because the Eight of Swords is an energy of feeling restricted by way of your circumstances, individually speaking, or even collectively speaking. However, it's self-imposed. It's something that you have all created inside your mind. It's a story you tell yourself that you can break. You don't need to be there. You don't need to be dealing with that person. You don't need to be doing that thing you no longer enjoy. Now is a time to release all of this to the universe because it's astrologically supported. There's an energy of escape. There's an energy of liberation that we are all being given access to, however that may look for you. Now is the time for planning. We are quickly approaching an energy when we are all going to be called to charge forward, to make our way to those allocated positions. But there's also a message here about the need to release fear around failing. A whole bunch of you are sitting on ideas out there that you don't want to implement because you're afraid of what somebody might say. You're afraid of the opinions of others. You're afraid of failing. But you need to understand that this is right where they want you, and you can't let them win. Which leads me to another download that I got before this reading, and that was that you need to get busy failing, and you will find your way. I quite often talk about in my readings that we need to shift our mindset around failing. Failing, depending on what it is, can actually be incredibly positive because you are narrowing the options to success, right? It's like the most successful people in the world. They've failed 1,000 times, but they've succeeded once, right? But that's all they needed was that one breakthrough. But they understood the math behind failing and success. And it's very important that all of you start implementing this into your lives. Stop wasting time worrying about what other people are going to think and the outcome. You need to get into an energy of trial and error. Eventually, something will stick. If it's in alignment with your path and what the divine has willed for your life, you cannot fail. But you also need to make sure of this. Is what you are doing something that serves the collective at large? Because if it is, you will always succeed at this, because that means it's been divinely ordered to happen in your life. So that idea that you're not taking action on, sit with yourself, think about it. Ask yourself, is this something that can serve the greater good? Is this something that people will find value in? Is this something that will help assist people and make their lives better? If you can answer yes, then get busy failing until you find the path to succeeding at it. And if you answer no, then you need to reevaluate and rearrange some things until you can say yes. But Eight of Swords, You have control over the outcome here. It's all up to you. What you say goes. Don't forget that. What do we have at the crown, please? Perfect card to get to follow what I just said. Three of Pentacles, Capricorn energy at the crown. Now, the Three of Pentacles is all about planning. It's all about collaborating, right? Collaborating with source, collaborating with the divine. Is it divinely guided? Yes or no? And it's right there at the crown position, okay? So there's very much a huge energy here of co-creating with the divine, which is a direct result of everything that we channeled through at the beginning of the reading. There's a massive evolution to this message here, but we're starting to see now how everything is the direct result of everything that we spoke about right at the very beginning, right? You've gone through all of this to get to the point where you are now ready to co-create, to bring this into your waking life. But you have to get out of your own way. You have to unravel this story that you tell yourself that isn't even yours. It's all based on fear. And then right on the bottom of the deck, Hermit. So perfect. So there's this energy of deep introspection, soul searching, co-creating with the divine, going inward for all of your guidance and clarity. That's how you're going to weather the storm, is by going inward. Now, I will say this, when you get inside that Hermit energy, right? You may not like what you hear. You may not like the messages that you are receiving, because I feel that we're at a time where they're bringing forward some discomfort. It's like taking it to source, taking it to spirit, taking it to the divine, taking it to God, saying, look, I've got this going on. How do I get out of this? And the message you receive is not something that you necessarily want to hear, but it's absolutely in alignment with your highest good. And chances are, once you get on the other side of this energy or this message and you've actually implemented it, you're going to look back and see why it had to unfold and happen exactly the way it did. So I'm not here to wrap a velvet blanket around all of you and tell you that the change that you may be guided to make in your life right now won't come with some discomfort, because you need to understand that it's a sort of rebirthing process that's taking place inside the collective, and that's always going to be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. And the sooner you start facing these challenges head on with all of your strength, the faster you will get on the other side of it. And then you can take some time to rest. But right now, we've got work to do. We've been preparing for this fight for a long time now. And it's here. It's going to show up differently for each and every one of you. It's a spiritual battle. We are fighting principalities that are using these entities inside the collective as their vessels. And you are being used as divine instruments to push back against these entities that have been reaching their long arms of control into our lives for far too long. Enough is enough. What do we have at the foundation? Two of Swords. Libra energy, Halifax, at the foundation of the reading. Now, the Two of Swords from this deck is speaking about some difficult decisions that need to be made here. And there's an energy here of confusion. It's almost like an energy of feeling so overwhelmed, so overloaded with the circumstances of your life and the collective at large that you just freeze in an energy of non-action. And this card perfectly encompasses what I said about these overreaching energies, right? Right here, they're kind of showing it as this long-necked, greasy, snake-like individual, right? It's like a greasy salesman. They can't even give you a full set of digits to shake their hand with. They just give you 3. Energy that wants you to think that it can solve all of your problems. But we've gotten to the point now that if you believe this, you only have yourself to blame. What do we have at the sacral, please? Page of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy at the sacral. Yeah, there's an energy here where they're wondering if you now see them for who they really are. This Page of Cups is interesting because it looks like a baby owl, right? But they're wearing this crown and they've got, the big owl eyes, right? Which almost look like, wonder if they notice something about me, right? It's got this energy of feeling like they've done too much now, right? The overreach has become too obvious. They've doubled down, and now they're fearing that what they've been doing is completely undeniable. But there's always going to be a collection of people that still refuse to see the truth. This always blows my mind when I come across people like this. We live in a time where what was once deemed as conspiracy theory, for the most part, has all come to be true. You know, there's certain things that I discovered about 17 years ago, right around 2008, 2007, around then, I had my first awakening when I started to really understand how the system worked, right? How the political structure of the world was really set up, which led me to doing a lot of soul searching and starting to do a deeper dive within. And a lot of this information that I discovered during that time, I would try to talk to people about, and people just passed it off as conspiracy theory or kind of rolled their eyes, you know. But now, oh no, very different now. Some of these actual people have repeated some of the things that I said to them back during that period of time, as if they're telling me something I don't already know. This is the time that we are in now. We don't have to believe literally everything that we hear now, because there's a lot of misinformation out there as well, obviously, especially during this period of time, because it's all been injected into the collective to create confusion. When people are on to what they are doing, right, this opposing force, one of the things they like to do is to inject another narrative into the collective that takes you down another path. They usually don't flat out say, no, that's not correct anymore. They say, actually, it didn't happen like that. It happened like this, right? Essentially diverting the narrative to something that is more favorable for them. This has become very popular the past few years. What do we have at the solar plexus? Strength, Leo energy at the solar plexus. Oh, what a card to follow what I just said. The strength card from this deck is speaking about a kind of abuse of power. And it also talks about what a lot of you are dealing with right now regarding the moves that the divine is guiding you to take. And there's a lot of people suppressing the urges to start making their way down their intended path. And it's right underneath the Wheel of Fortune. There's this energy inside the collective right now that really just wants people to give up. What's it all for anyway? There's no point. This is very much being pushed. It's become mainstream. Now, it's very subtle the way they do this. But look out for all of those messages that are being injected into the collective right now that are meant to plant seeds of self-doubt into your subconscious mind so you don't take the necessary action and steps towards aligning with your mission here. We are all down here fighting this spiritual battle. We have been sent on a tour of duty, so to speak. And it's not just about the war that we are fighting in this life cycle. It goes far beyond one lifetime. It's an eternal war of balance, which goes back to what I said earlier on in the reading about the need to keep balance inside the collective and how the darkness is trying to overtake the light. So you need to step into your power, function inside that allocated position, and do what you are being tasked with doing to spread that light, so to speak. That's how you accomplish your individual mission, period. What do we have at the heart? Wow. Unbelievable. Just followed what I said. Dandelion, Pisces energy, the high priestess, infamy. And look, right? Little devil, angel, right? Dark light. That's representing that balance. And it's right there, smack dab in the middle of the reading. And look at this. The Six of Pentacles, he's also holding the scales. Balance, right? You being armed with the tools that you need by the divine to help keep the balance. And another thing as well, it's like this person here, they're not getting anything, right? It's like you've been through the wars, right? The divine's supporting you, but they've been on this other path, this alternate path, right? Essentially bowing down to the opposing force. But now they're having this come to Jesus kind of moment. And I just heard the divine saying to them, I don't know you. You're not one of mine. Because they're starting to realize what they've been worshiping. Yeah, this is another big thing that's taking place inside the collective right now. People running for the hills because they realized that they were on the wrong team the entire time. And they always knew this. They just didn't think there would be repercussions for their actions. And this high priestess here can also speak about what I mentioned in regards to them planting seeds of self-doubt into the subconscious mind, right? It's like this subconscious thoughts come up, right? Unearths itself from the depths of your mind. It's like, no, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Telling you that it's not going to work. Telling you that you should be living in fear. Telling you that you should just give up. And then you have the angel on the other shoulder telling you exactly what you need to do to remove yourself from this energy, from this timeline, right? Which goes back to what I said about us manifesting ourselves onto a new timeline that is based on an energy of understanding as opposed to fear. And that's actually something that I had to sit with recently, because I'm not somebody who lives in fear, but the uncertainty, the destruction that we are seeing inside the collective right now can feel so overwhelming and so heavy that it's impossible not to pick up on that energy, which also leads me to what I mentioned about just getting prepared. And then we have A'el, Divine Warrior, Ten of Cups, Pisces energy again. So this Ten of Cups, you can't actually see it right here, but there's a child laying on this individual's lap. It really shows us these three levels to you. There's your higher self, there's you in the here and now, then there's your inner child, right? This card is also in this deck that I use right here, and they show the full picture of this. But it just really speaks about this sort of culmination. I just heard you've arrived at this very moment. And it's like you're sitting down before the divine, and the divine is saying to you, hey, well, you've made it. Here we are. Are you ready for the next chapter? Are you ready to truly align with your mission, because you have collected all the wisdom and experience that we have needed you to gather up until this very moment? Doesn't matter how young you are, doesn't matter how old you are. When it's your time to step into this energy, it's your time. You can either continue down the path you've always been on, and you can pretty much expect that it will be littered with more fear and uncertainty about the future, or you can really take a chance on yourself, your ideas, your creations, all these things that the divine has been willing for you to engage in inside this life cycle and truly become the superhero in your own life, right? So you decide. But we've reached this point now, this crossover point, where you definitely need to decide. Are you going to implement these plans? Are you going to put action behind all of these things that you've been guided to do or not? It's up to you. You have free will. And in saying that, it almost feels like, based on where this opposing force is trying to take all of us, it may be the last time we're close to it when we actually have it. Free will. What do we have at the throat, please? Wow. Unbelievable. So, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on my 6th deck of cards right now, and we have just gotten the Hierophant stacked with the Hierophant. However, as you can see here, one is in reverse, one is upright. When it's in reverse, this is a godless energy, essentially the devil, okay? When it's upright, this is God, all of your spirit guides, the divine, like we've been picking up throughout this entire reading. And this encompasses this message so perfectly, right? The message of making that decision, that message of standing at the crossover point. Who are you going to walk with? Because there's no in between. You cannot be lukewarm about this. Sitting this one out defaults you to this. It's all hands on deck. You have not been sent down here for nothing. You are down here to fulfill a mission. And if you don't fulfill that mission, you relinquish your power to the opposing force. It's essentially an energy of defecting. But now's the time. There's no more waiting. And that goes without saying. You all know that. All you have to do is look around at the world. It's everywhere. What do we have at the third eye, please? Knight of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy at the third eye. Ariel, the revealing God. Perception and revelation, discovers hidden treasure, reveals secrets of nature. Now, this is really speaking about you charging down this path that I've been picking up here, the path that you've been guided to go down, but there's this sort of fear that's hanging over some of you, that fear of failure that I picked up on. Now, I will say this, okay? Because I like to be very grounded within the reality of pulling off what you have been guided to do here, because I've been down this path. I'm still continuing down this path. Chances that you're going to hit some roadblocks and you're going to have those failures come through are pretty good, but you have to take them in stride. But they are not happening to stop you. They are happening to refine you. And again, to narrow your options to that success. And that's right underneath that Eight of Swords, right? Which is that energy of being imprisoned by that fear. And see how it's right there at the third eye, right? And it's like you're blindfolded there. It's also covering your third eye. Your intuition. Now, the Knight of Cups also speaks about your imagination, which is balanced third eye energy. You have the vision. You see it, right? You can see beyond the material world. You know what you're supposed to do. But the point from where you stand now to finding yourself in that space of that vision is going to have some obstacles on it. It's all a part of the journey. And I just heard so clearly, get busy living or get busy dying, which is a quote from The Shawshank Redemption. Okay, so just perfect. What do we have at the crown to close this out, please? I think it's 2 cards. Okay. They want me to take both of these. Hermit, Virgo energy at the crown. Now, we've been feeling this hermit energy. We saw it on the bottom, one of the other decks here as well, okay? Ivamia, Word of God creating all, alchemy and transformation, rules natural events, helps with spiritual progress. So further confirming the importance of your connection to Source at this time, right there at the crown, right? Here you are co-creating with Source. This need for deep introspection more than ever. When you feel imprisoned by your circumstances, by what you may be dealing with in your everyday waking life, you must go inward to find your way out. That is where you find that secret passage doorway. Could be an idea that all of a sudden comes to you out of nowhere, a download, a message that when you find, you realize was sitting there waiting for you all along. And then probably the greatest card that we could get to end this reading, the Death card. Mumia, God, the end of the universe, endings and rebirth, influences health and longevity. And this is what this is all about. A complete restructuring of your life moving forward, of all of your lives. The rebirth taking place inside the collective, the end of the universe. Essentially our reality on this timeline as we have always known it. An ending, a beginning, a death, a rebirth, and a complete transformation of who you are. This is one of these messages, this is one of these energies where you become that vision that you have always held for yourself and your life. You literally step into it. You wake up from one day to the next and you think back over your life like it was almost a dream. It's like waking up from one reality to the next. Your conscious awareness shifts into an alternate version of yourself on another timeline. And this is what timeline jumping is all about. It's a complete destruction of how you perceive your reality and how you interface with it. And we are all being given this opportunity right now to embrace this change. But it's up to you. And depending on what you decide, it could be the last time you're ever faced with this decision. There's probably not a single one of you out there that can't see how that might possibly be true. So to close out the reading, I will leave all of you with one poem. There's no mountain too high and no valley too low. You carve the path where others won't go. Trust in your current, steady and strong. It knows the way, it won't steer you wrong. Flow with courage, let the world see. You are the river bound for the sea. This is the message I have available to all of you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, You can find all of my contact details in the description below this video, and thank you for your donations. Take care.